Welcome to Pop Chaos, where your culture had it coming. Today we've got a special guest, Robert Blake.
I feel left out now.
Well, it's also, there's Jay as always. Happy and wearing his nerd hat.
This is my nerd hat.
Yes.
I didn't have a nerd shirt to wear today. I feel left out. I started wearing one of my Nirvana shirts, but I didn't want to.
Oh, we got that covered.
So.
Anyway, Robert's a local artist. He does a strip called World of Fizz, and I'm kind of curious, Robert. What inspired you to do your strip?
Well, Brian, I just had these ideas banging around my head and just wanted to get them out.
Any reason you chose foxes?
Foxes. Well, not really. I just really like foxes.
Okay, well, let's clarify this. They are actual foxes. They're not furries, right?
No.
No.
Good.
They're anthropomorphic animals.
You heard that, folks.
Yeah, like Ninja Turtles. They were in case you don't know what anthropomorphic is, Ninja Turtles. Humanoid animals, not people that look like animals.
Yeah, we don't want to be accused of being called neckbeards again, because found out that person that called us that was indeed a furry.
I'm hetero myself.
Well, I was a neckbeard until last night. And I shaved.
Well, I had a beard until last night, and I shaved because, well, you got to give the face a little break there.
Yes.
But anyway, getting back
to it. Okay. So, as far as your art style, did you have anything specific that you wanted to go with as far as being, because every cartoonist has their own independent style that they go with. Did you have any influence, I guess, is the best way to ask that?
Well, growing up, I read a lot of comic strips, especially in the newspapers, like Peanuts, Garfield, Beetle Bailey. But I like Peanuts the most. Charles Schultz was a real inspiration to me, and it was
We're putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
And you can see how I am at coming up with on-the-spot answers. But with Charles Schultz, he was a real inspiration to me. I would say he's my most, as far as influences go, he's my most influential.
Okay.
I mean, as far as, style, I don't know about as far as art style goes, but work ethic-wise, he did everything by himself, writing, penciling, ink, lettering, all that. And that's how I wanted to do it.
Right.
It's like, if you can't do it yourself, you ain't doing it right.
I agree 100%. I agree. What about comic books as far as, like Marvel or DC or Image or anything? Were you ever into things like that, or were you always more into the comic strips like on the funnies and the papers?
Newspaper strips mostly, but I read a few comic books growing up, mostly Batman, Superman,
Brian like that.
Yeah.
Never had any Transformers though. So I had the toys, but not the comics.
Comics were hit and miss on Transformers.
Yes.
Never really.
They were.
When it was good, it was good. When it was bad, it was terrible.
Yeah, stay away from the crossover with Spider-Man and G.I. Joe. Those were just
Oh dear Lord, yeah. Is there anything you've wanted to cover that you haven't? Like any kind of controversial topic?
Well, you read my comic, there's not a lot of religious humor in it. It's not that I'm afraid of offending anybody, it's just, I don't know.
Well, that's one. I've always said the two areas you can start an argument, the three areas you can start an argument with somebody quicker than anything about are religion, politics, and money.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of politics in my strip either. But I try to I try to keep away from like topical stuff. Like occasionally I'll do something that's in the news, but not all the time. I don't want to turn into Mallard Fillmore.
So it doesn't. Your style, it kind of clashes with your style. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I like the panels, the 3 and 4 panel. That's a real good.
That's how I started doing it. That's the way I've always done it. I've been asked to do comic books, but I like the strips better. I got nothing against comic books. I find strips a little easier to do because I'm more gag-a-day type thing. I do stories every now and then.
I saw the mall one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, the mall guy. I really liked that one. That was actually a leftover story from my first strip, which was Virgo and Enrique. It's basically the same style of humor and art. And it was I would say back when I first started doing the comics, Virgo and Enrique, I only had like 2 characters to work with, and every now and then bring one in. I was trying to bring in more characters, but I was starting out. I was getting ahead of myself, so I just stuck with the 2. And when I got a little more confident in my art and my writing, which still needs work, but I don't want to knock myself too much.
Well, I can tell you I do a lot of writing myself from a writer's perspective. I've heard several writers say they have to have their books taken away from them by the publisher because if they don't, they'll write them forever.
Yeah,
they're never satisfied.
That's how I am with my strip.
Well, when you got to talking about how you got started,
yes,
and everything, that brings me to a question of how long have you been doing this?
The strip itself, I've been doing it. The strip itself, I've been doing it off and on since high school.
Okay.
I would say about up until now, I'd say I've been working on the strip. The current incarnation of the strip right now, I started working on it in 2007, January 1st. But good time to start too. I've been working on it. I'm about 4.5 years into it now, ever since I started back up. But overall, I've been working on this particular comic strip since about 2000.
Okay.
But I had been drawing before that.
Right.
But nothing on like strip level once I just did.
Right.
Comics.
Now, if you don't mind here, I'm going to hold
Sure.
one up to show. We'll get some better pictures here in a second. But if everyone notices, the size of the panels that you use here is quite considerably smaller than what your comic books are on. And this is the major format, I guess, for the newspaper.
I work in
strips.
a slightly smaller size to what would appear in a comic strip. Comic strips in the newspaper, I think the standard format is 4 by 13, 4 inches by 13 inches. I work slightly smaller because the paper is cheaper.
Well, that brings me to something else I was going to ask is, do you ever find yourself constrained or constricted by the size, or did it take you a while to get used to that size of paper? Because I'm an artist myself, and I've tried working on different size papers, and sometimes when you get in the habit of drawing at a certain size, or whether it be small or large, when you move to another medium, it kind of is hard to work in it at first. Did it take you a while to get used to that size?
Yes, because before I worked in a larger size, scale-wise, newspaper standard 4 by 13. These comics here are about 3 3/4 by 11, 11 and a half. Slightly smaller, but just large enough to where I don't have to make much of an adjustment in my art. I used to work smaller than this on 8.5 by 11. The panels were like 3 inches high and 10 inches, and it was just annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's too small, and working in a larger size, it lets me put more detail in it.
Right.
So like if you draw small, like in a small size, you don't have much room for detail unless you're using a finer pen than I use. But yeah, kids, work large. Work small, you're just going to screw yourself in the end.